My parents kept breaking into my apartment, so I moved without telling them and let them panic. And the panic revealed something about my apartment that I was never supposed to find out. I am 24. I moved out at 21. My first apartment was 11 minutes from my parents' house. I chose it for the neighborhood. My parents chose to interpret the proximity as an invitation. Within the first month, my mother Adriana had a copy of my key. I did not give it to her. She had one made from the spare I kept under a pot on my patio. She said, I made a copy in case of emergencies. The first emergency was 3 weeks later. I came home from work and my living room furniture had been rearranged. My couch was against a different wall. A note on the counter in my mother's handwriting said, your place looked cluttered. I freshened it up. Love, Mom. I said, you can't come into my apartment when I'm not here. She said, I'm your mother. I said, you're my mother and this is my apartment. And those are two different sentences. The second entry, my pantry reorganized. Food she deemed expired thrown away. The third entry broke me. My bedroom closet reorganized. She had removed 4 items she considered inappropriate and replaced them with blouses she had bought. She left the receipt on the dresser as though the financial transaction made the intrusion acceptable. I changed the locks. She appeared 48 hours later. Her key did not work. She said, why? I said, because you keep entering my apartment without my permission and rearranging my life. She said, I was helping. I said, helping requires consent. She cried. My father Alec called. He said, your mother is heartbroken. I said, my mother went through my closet. He said, she bought you new clothes. I said, she removed mine first. 3 weeks later, I came home and my door was unlocked. She had gotten the new key from my landlord Hudson. She told him she was my mother and there was a family emergency. And Hudson, who has the security protocols of a garden gate, gave her one. I called Hudson. She said there was an emergency. I said, the emergency was my couch being in a position she didn't approve of. She came back 2 more times through Hudson, each time with a note. I moved. I found an apartment 35 minutes away. Different neighborhood. Different landlord. I did not tell my parents. I packed over a week and moved on a Saturday while they were at a family event I had declined. I left the old apartment empty. No forwarding address. I left one thing behind. The spare key under the pot on the patio. Still there. For her to find. My mother discovered the empty apartment on a Tuesday. My phone exploded at 4:17 p.m. 14 calls in 12 minutes. Where are you? Your apartment is empty. I'm calling the police. She called the police. She reported me missing. An officer called. He said, your mother says you've disappeared. I said, I moved. I didn't tell her because she kept breaking into my apartment. He said, you're an adult. You're not required to disclose your address to your parents. My father called. He said, your mother is sitting at your old apartment on the floor crying. I said, the apartment is empty. There's nothing for her to sit on. He said, she's on the floor. She found something behind the refrigerator. I drove to the old apartment. My mother was on the floor holding a small black device, about the size of a phone charger. She said, what is this? It was a GPS tracker, small, magnetic, designed to be hidden, placed behind my refrigerator against the wall where nobody would see it unless they sat on the floor of an empty apartment and noticed a blinking light in the gap. Someone had been tracking my location from inside my apartment. Not my mother, someone else. My mother, for all her boundary violations and key copying and closet reorganization, had accidentally discovered a surveillance device that I would never have found because I never moved the refrigerator because I am 24, and moving refrigerators is not something 24-year-olds do voluntarily. She broke into my apartment dozens of times. The last time she found something that should not have been there. I called the police. They came. They bagged the device. They are tracing it. My friend Torbjorn found the product page. The tracker retailed for over $100. It required a monthly subscription, a data plan. Someone had been paying every month to receive location updates from that device. Torbjorn said, someone's been